Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. Today's a monumental day, guys. Today, we have the only second ever male on the show. And I'm super freaking pumped to talk to him because he's got a shit ton of information for us and knowledge and just awesome things. So today I am joined by Ryan Walker. Ryan is currently a sergeant with the EPS tactical team. He has been with the EPS for 22 years. And, if he's not busy enough, he's also the owner of Supplement King Beaumont, Supplement King Camrose, Supplement King Windermere, and their newly acquired store, Supplement King in Heritage Valley in Edmonton. I am excited for what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about supplements. We're going to talk about wellness. We're going to talk about officer safety. We're going to talk about all this amazing stuff. So welcome, Ryan. How are you today?
Very good, Nikki. Thanks for having me on.
Super pumped about this. Yeah. So you're the second only ever boy on our podcast. So I say boy, but like you guys are all grown men, but whatever. You're boys to me. So welcome on. Our last boy was Sheridan Taylor, one of my coworkers back in, I think he was in season 2, way back. We're already on season 7, which is crazy. So thanks for joining us. I know, right? It goes so fast. We were just talking about time. It goes so fast, but thank you for joining us. I am very excited about the topics that we're going to talk about today because I think they really affect everybody, anybody that's in a first responder career, even just anybody in general, people that are listening that may not be first responders or, in that law enforcement world in regards to wellness and supplements and ways to kind of enhance our wellness, enhance our fitness and things like that. So, but I want to kind of delve into your first kind of, the side of your life, which is your kind of work with EPS. So you've been with them for just finished your 22nd year, which is wow. Well done. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
And so how did you kind of lead into EPS? Did you always want to be a police officer? Or was this kind of something you fell into? How did you kind of fall into this?
Yeah, that's funny. It comes up lots. And you know what? There isn't a specific moment where it's like, I want to be a police officer, like, with the growing up and all that. Actually, I wanted to be a teacher. I come from, my dad was a teacher. My mom, I'll even call her a teacher herself. So my lineage, we'll say, is from teachers. And so I completed my U of A degree. I have a secondary education degree from the U of A. And then in that time, I played a lot of team sports. And it was something, I don't know the exact moment, but there was a calling that I needed to do something else, even after I finished my teaching degree. And my sister had done a ride along, and that kind of intrigued me. And then I just also then I was playing soccer, and one of the guys I played soccer with actually this was back in the day of the Edmonton Drillers, if you can remember the indoor soccer team back then. Yeah. So one of the players actually got picked. He became an EPS officer, and that really interested me. And from there, I just looked at the policing world just ever changing, like, no days the same, and just being out there in the community. And it's also that, I call it kind of a sports team atmosphere, like you're working together as a unit. That kind of intrigued me. And so I put my name in, and here I am now.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens. Hey, you're like, I put my name in, and then holy crap, it's 22 years later, and here I am still doing it. So
anyone going through the process, even back then, it's and I appreciate it's a lengthy process. So you put your name in, it's not the next day. Then there's as anyone who's ever done the recruiting or anyone in the promotion, the process right now probably knows it's a couple months, a lengthy process.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's reasons for that. And I think it's good that it's kind of a lengthy process. But as the recruit or as the applicant, you're just like, oh my God, this is taking forever. Like, when am I going to know? When am I going to get that call? So that's super exciting. And so when So it would have been what? You would have been the same as me, 2002 then, probably when you started, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
September
okay.
of 2002. That's correct.
That's crazy. And I started in corrections November of 2002. So, well, there you go.
Yep.
So when you started and then kind of moving through your career, have you worked all over the city? Have you worked in different roles? Have you been like we had kind of talked before we started recording, just like a couple of the posts you'd been in, but when
Yeah.
you first started, was it like you were put at, and I always want to call them detachments because I think RCMP, but station, like West Station or like
Yeah.
Southwest Station, were you put at one and kind of left there for a couple of years to get your feet wet, or did you kind of bounce around?
No, so it's still to this day what happens when you join the Edmonton Police Service is that when you graduate through class, then you'll be put into a division. And obviously Edmonton has grown since my time quite a bit. And back then it was just called South Division. South
Mm-hmm.
Division was everything south of the North Saskatchewan River. So it was massive.
Yeah.
I can remember taking 45 minutes to get to a call alone just because of the sheer size. Now Edmonton has actually split up. It's a number of different divisions. So I started off my career in South Division, and then from there, at about I think it was a 3 or 4 year mark, I actually started in White Ave beats. So I was fortunate enough to be walking the beat, riding a bike for a number of years, almost 5.5 years as a White Ave beat officer. And that time, that's when I started putting in for tactical section. So I was about an 9 year member before I put my name into tactical. And then, as I said, the progression was a number of years in tactical as a constable, left, went to West Division in Edmonton as a patrol constable, and then got promoted there a year after as a sergeant. And then I was a sergeant in West Division. I did a very short stint in West Edmonton Mall Beats. I was a West Edmonton Mall Beats sergeant when there was a police program in there. And then the opportunity in tactical came along, and it's a rare opportunity. So even though I just started my beat position, I took the chance, and here I am now. For
That's,
about 4.5 years, I think I'm almost at tactical now. Back.
yeah, back. Exactly. That's crazy. I was just thinking, so bike patrol on White Ave, you would
Yep.
have been there. Were you there for the 2006 Oilers Cup run?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I was.
I'm like, because I was working at the jail in A&D when the Oilers
Oh
Cup
yeah.
run in 2006. And it was like every single time there was a game, we were like, dear God, clear out
Oh
the
yeah.
cells because everybody's coming in. So, yes.
Well,
Well, what good experience to get you ready for tactical than working on White Ave
yep.
during that shit
Patience.
show.
You learn lots of
Mhm.
patience. Yeah.
Well, and even just being on White Ave, like I was just there last weekend. We had a thing with my rugby club at like a social event. And I'm normally like, I'm old now. I don't go to White Ave anymore. It's not my jam, but my team
Yeah.
was going and I was like, sure, I'll go. And I'm like walking. I was like, holy shit, White Ave has changed since I used to party down here. But
Yes.
like, like being like, I always seeing the officers down there and I was like, God, you have the patience of a saint to deal with all these drunk idiots that are like, stumbling around, like, wanting to talk to you, wanting to like, people want to fight, people want to like, girls are drunk and cry. Like, I'm like, that's not my jam. Like, so every time I see officers on White Ave, I'm like, I bow down to you and your patience.
In all honesty, the reality is, and I think White Ave has dramatically changed. Like we look at it, it's changed from that nightclub scene because back then, obviously, we're talking you and I around the same age. It was a
Yeah.
nightclub. Like there was so many nightclubs on there, and it was such a unique on a Friday, Saturday night. It was the first kind of policing of nighttime entertainment, and now that's kind of toned down. But yeah, White Ave has its own unique issues that back in my time weren't really there. But yeah, and yeah, you're right. Like we call them the weekend lawyer. Like they think they know a little everything, but for the most part, it was actually a really, really great experience. It's again in that team atmosphere, like working in a beat and you ask any police officer, those beat officers, it's actually it's one of the better, it's a really, really great area to be in.
Well, and you mentioned bike patrol too. So I just want to touch on that quick because I have never actually had anybody on the podcast who's been on bike patrol. So is that another, like you're applying into that, or is that just because you were a White Ave that just came with being a White Ave patrol officer?
Yeah, to be clarified, like white beat offs, like beat officers generally, they're given a bike course. Like you are
Okay.
technically, you're given a course, get to ride the Edmonton trails, and there's some challenges, like you, but yeah, you're given a course, and that's just a part of your duty. You get to choose when you ride the bike. Now, in saying that, it sounds like when you're in corrections, there was like a crowd control unit. We did have a crowd control unit. I've been out of that unit for quite a while. And I recall at the time they were bringing in a bike program. So officers that were dedicated to learning tactics and techniques of using it as a crowd control device.
Very interesting. That is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And so then moving into tactical. So now, and
Yeah.
again, I did not know this, that it is a full-time position within APS. So I was on our corrections tactical team. Ours, that was just you as an additional duty. So if there was a code, you got called out and then they were like, this is a TAC call out. You then went from the code, you dressed, we got our gear on, and then we responded as the tactical team. Or if it was like an all team call out, you're getting called in the middle of the night, like it's a TAC call out, let's go. That was over and
Yeah.
above our regular shifts and our regular duty. So you're doing this as a full-time role and responsibility. And so how does that play out? Are you guys like, I mean, I'm assuming the training is continual and
Yeah.
you're just responding, and we'd kind of talked about it off air again, but you're responding to additional calls for service when things have kind of escalated beyond what I would say like patrol members could do.
Yeah. As I said, so the tactical unit, we actually just celebrated our 50th anniversary. So we've been around for quite a while. So
Wow.
to clarify, tactical is the US term people are very familiar with we're a SWAT team.
Mhm.
So Edmonton Police Service, as long as I can recall, has had a full-time tactical team. ERT, that's kind of the RCMP version. Just probably about 10 some years ago, they went to a full-time. And that's just because that's the demand that's out there now. There's no denying, like everyone can read in the papers what goes on. And so the whole purpose of having tactical team is like the saying is it's the professional safe resolution of critical events. And so when I say a critical event is there's incidences where you're going to need, it's not just the additional training, it's the equipment and all.
Mhm.
And so we're given that ability to, like, we're actually mandated. It's not an expectation, it's a mandate that we're given we're expected to be training. So when I'm at work, there is a portion that I'm expected to train in. Obviously, like I was working yesterday, the whole day we were running around a part of Edmonton dealing with situations that were going on. And those situations could be involved something that patrols reacting to. So like a critical event that tactical will come in and assist. Like we're a
Mhm.
support unit. So we support our frontline guys, the patrol members, but we work with generally like the investigative bodies that I call them our clients. The clients are a higher officer safety threat. So homicide unit, armed robbery, edge, like our gang units and all that, and they need someone to be arrested or a warrant to be executed, then generally will be requested to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. I like that like you specified it's also the equipment. It's not just the training, but it is that specialized equipment that you guys have access to, that you're trained on and that you guys can utilize. Like, so I think that's a big part of it too, is, where as frontline, you're given, certain amounts of tools, you're given certain amounts of training, but it kind of is limited to what you're seeing right in front of you, not necessarily like you're saying the execution of warrants on people that are going to be dangerous or that have a potential for it to go south, and you're going to need that extra, either extra equipment or extra training. So that's really cool. And I also like the way that you specify it's a support unit, that you're not coming in and taking over, you're
No.
supporting the frontline
Yeah.
officers roles, like duties and roles and the work that they're doing. I think that's a really great complementary kind of way to look at it. So that's awesome.
Well, for
Um,
sure.
and so we were talking. So you have been a sergeant with them for 4.5 years,
Yeah.
but you've also been the owner of Supplement King in 4 different locations for 4 years, or you got your first location 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
2020, big year for you. Lots of shit going on.
Yeah.
So how did that kind of evolve? Like, were you always interested in kind of moving into business, or was it just something that kind of like fell into your lap and you're like, yeah, this is a great opportunity?
It didn't come fall into the lap. Like obviously throughout my gosh, I was my dad used to accuse me of just drinking fish fertilizer back in the late 80s, trying to get to be bodybuilding big. So I used to be around supplement stores from way, way, way back. And actually, when I left university, I got a job at a fitness depot. I actually, prior to getting on with the Edmonton Police Service, I was actually managing a fitness depot. And I actually really enjoyed that. I was selling treadmills, selling weights, but I was in that fitness field. And I've always had that. Obviously, I've played at a very high level of soccer. And I was always kind of like the bodybuilding looking soccer player. I was very, because I really enjoyed working out, but I also enjoyed just playing sports. And so when I worked at Fitness Depot, I really, really started to enjoy helping people. Like I'd have people like obviously looking for a treadmill for whatever reasons or weights for whatever reason. And it actually was so enjoyable that instead of going on a substitute list or applying to be a teacher, that's what most of my friends did when they graduated. I worked at Fitness Depot for about a year while I was in the process of applying for the EPS. And so that never left me. I've always enjoyed, as I said, I started off, I was going to be a teacher. I enjoyed that. And I enjoy helping. It's obviously helping others. And it was one time I used to shop at like the Popeyes, the GNCs. And then when Supplement King came into the area, probably in the 2015, into the Edmonton area, I started shopping there. And I lived in an area at that time, Windermere, and I just saw an opportunity there. I just always was I remember talking to the manager of the store and saying, why don't you guys ever open up one in Windermere? And they were, at the time, he was like, well, the actual owner, they're not into doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, so I thought, hey, why not? Let's look into it. And so I threw it out there, and it was about 2 years later. 2 years later, when Roger King, who's the CEO of Supplement King Sup, he called me up and he said, we don't have that Windermere spot for you, but how about Beaumont? And then, the rock behind the Supplement King store is my wife. And my wife was willing to take it on because at that time, my wife was working at EPCOR as a lab technician. And yeah, she left her job to take over. Basically, she's the reason why that store runs the way it is.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, wanted to pop on here before we got into this next episode and let you know about a couple new rad ideas that we have for the podcast. So the first one is we have a survey up, and I would love to know what you guys think about the show. I'd love your feedback. I'd love your ideas for the next season, and I'd just love to know what you like and what you dislike about the podcast. And I'm going to sweeten the deal with a $50 gift card randomly drawn from everybody that completes the survey. The survey is going to be in the show notes of all of our shows, so no matter what time you start listening to the podcast at, you'll get a chance to win that gift certificate. The second thing that we're bringing in now is the ability for you guys to leave us a voicemail. You guys can actually call into the show, leave us a voicemail, let us know what you think about the show. If you have a funny story you'd like to share from your time as a first responder, I would love those and showcase those on the show as well. So make sure you guys check out that voicemail feature. It's going to be in the show notes, and check out the survey. Make sure you get that chance to win that gift certificate. That's awesome. I do love Supplement King Beaumont. So if you know Blue Line, we get lots of our prize packs from you guys because I do love your stuff. I love that store. Yeah. And that's amazing. So she basically was like, yep, we're doing this. Let's go, honey. Let's take it. And then took it and ran with it while you were getting your feet wet and trying to get your life sorted out now that you're the new sergeant of the tactical team.
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, because at the time, if you ask my wife, like, and anyone who's been there, and I know, Nick, you've been there yourself, is we try being different than everyone else in the sense of the education component, like really teaching people about what a supplement and what they can do for you, and looking at like focusing on you personally, like getting you what you actually really need. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she came in there doing nothing. all she knew is that our pantry was always loaded with supplements, but she knew jack shit about what they did. And now she's probably one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to supplements. So yeah, it's been a big eye-opening for her on that sense.
Yeah, I will say, if you guys don't follow, listeners, if you don't follow Supplement King on Instagram, so you can follow any of them at Supplement King Beaumont or at Supplement King Camrose. The educational stuff that you guys put out on Instagram about the products, when you get new products in, like breaking it down, it's phenomenal. Like even again, been around gyms for my whole life, been around supplement stores for my whole life. I still learn something from you guys, or I'll go in and I'll be like, oh, what's this new product? And the staff you have are extremely knowledgeable. It's not, and they're not about selling you the product just because it's the new product. It's like, oh, well, if you don't like this, okay, well then no, then this one, even though this is the newest one, I wouldn't recommend this one for you. I would recommend this product for you. And it's like, wicked, thank you, because otherwise I would have just bought it and then not liked it and then been like, oh, well, that's crap, and I spent this money on the supplement that I don't like, you know. So I really do appreciate that, and I appreciate the educational component for sure.
Well, that's where the kind of the two things kind of align. My job is about integrity and credibility, and I really emphasize that with our staff is that, you know, we have to have some credibility. If you're recommending a product and you're making these promises, or, you know, and sometimes it does mean taking people off buying products they don't need, because that's what we see quite often. And we've been very fortunate. And one of the true tests that it's funny because you talk about that social media, that Instagram. I've been doing as you know, Sam. Mm-hmm. Sam and I were doing TikTok, and that's where it gets really tested. Like Sam does kind of questions with me. And the TikTok allows me to do those 1 minute information sessions where someone will ask a question, then I can kind of give them an answer. And obviously there's a lot of people on the TikTok who are just waiting to pounce on you if you say anything that is incorrect or whatnot. And like I quickly amassed, I think I'm at about 27,000 followers right now. So we're doing something right when it comes to that.
For sure. I will say one of my favorites was them throwing things at you and you having to catch them, having no idea. I swear to God, I watched that video like 4 times because it was so funny. And I was like, you can see he's getting more and more mad. And then just like, why? But I will say, cat-like reflexes, bud. Cat-like reflexes.
I still got it. I still got it.
Impressive. I was like, wow, look at him go. So if you haven't seen it, guys, you got to go to Instagram. You got to find him. You got to watch the video of them trying to make him catch things without knowing it's coming at him. So, and it's a good segue because we're talking about education. So, and again, people coming in and thinking that they need something, and then maybe it's not what they need. So because we are inundated with social media, with what we should be taking, what we shouldn't be taking, what's healthy for us, what's not healthy for us, you know, what's best for this and what's best for that. I think a lot of people, it's an overwhelm of information. There's too much coming at us. There's too much contradictory information, right? Oh, you should take this. Oh, but don't take this, but take this, but not at this time. So as first responders, as again, somebody like yourself that works shift work, that knows the slog of nights, that knows like lack of sleep, like excessive stress levels, right? Like that need to regulate, that need to be able to decompress. And, you know, when you leave, how can you help yourself, fitness and all that stuff. What are some kind of educational components that you can share with our listeners in regards to supplements that we should be taking, supplements that we shouldn't be taking, and maybe even like when and how we should be taking them? Okay.
Well, so, you know, we start off with what is the foundation of a good supplement program? The key thing is your supplements don't take over just eating food, right? Like that's a no-go where, you know, instead of eating food, all you're doing is you're living off a protein shake and putting in some greens or whatever, because that's going to, like, that's not like a supplement is just, it supplements your normal diet. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I really, really focus. Now, the positives of a supplement is that they're convenient. You know, I'm headed into work today. I didn't have a chance to cook some chicken or make a protein source. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to have my protein source is, if I'm if it's a quick, is I can throw it into I can have myself a protein shake. So the foundation of anything is getting that protein, a good protein source. And what I mean by good protein source is one that doesn't affect you as well. And that's one thing that we teach people. A lot of people say, well, I take a whey protein, right? That's a milk-based product. And you'll find people that will come in and they'll buy a protein powder and they say, well, every time I take a protein, it bothers my stomach or I get really gassy. But then there's other ones that don't. And we generally can attribute to that is because of your lactose. And that's kind of one thing we teach you is that know the difference. Know the difference between a whey protein and a whey isolate protein. Whey isolate is that word, isolate. They isolate the whey by removing the lactose, most of the lactose. I can't say 100%, all products are 100% lactose free, but for majority, it is good enough that if you have lactose issues, a whey isolate won't bother your stomach. Now, so that's kind of a foundation, is getting that protein. The other thing is, what's your goal? Like it's lean, like just getting, if it's that fitness level, just getting your lean body tissue, like getting lean mass on. Another staple that I really, and I think what's going to come out there, more and more science is coming out on it, is creatine. Mm-hmm. Creatine is a phenomenal product. It's been around since the 90s. Like I started taking it during my U of A soccer career. I always made my coach worry that I was going to fail a drug test, because back then there was so much myth about creatine. Yes. And creatine is just found in meat. It's just found in red meat. That's all. And so it's just that you get a larger dose. No, that's creatine monohydrate, right? And so I strongly recommend creatine monohydrate. Now there's a lot of studies about how good it is for brain health. So like I can get into a huge science about creatine, but that is one of my favorite products because I know it works. I love the fact when I have people come in and they've been working out and they've never used creatine, and I can promise them within 2 weeks, they're going to be stronger. It's how the body works. You're going to have what we call adrenal triphosphate, more in your ATP is going to be able to be more in that. You're going to generate more. And so you're going to be more explosive, more recover faster during your workout. Those are the two staples. And then the other things are, we start to look at additional. We start to really kind of focus, what are you like, what is your goal? And maybe what are you lacking? So that could be anything from someone who should be taking greens, people with a little bit of stomach problems, like bloating and all that. We've had girls at the Beaumont. Some of our staff have had life-changing, where they realized a little bit of fiber and glutamine completely eliminated their bloating issues. And it was, so I would suggest the staples of any kind of diet is definitely getting that good protein. And then second would be creatine, is to start off. And then we look at further. So
it's like I said, I'm loving to hear about creatine, because I was at U of A exactly the same time you were. I was playing Pandas rugby. And one of the girls that was on my team, she actually went on to play for Canada, Maria Gallo. Yep. She was doing her master's there, and she was doing her thesis on creatine, on the effects on strength and, like ATP and all this. And so she would come to training, and we trained like every single day. And every day she would have a new fact that she'd learned or that she'd researched. And it was phenomenal. And same thing. She was like, we're all going on creatine. Everybody's taking creatine. We're all on Panda. We're all taking creatine. And same thing, our coach was like, I need to know all of the things. I need to know what's in it. If you get piss tested, I need to know. And Maria was like, no, it's good. Like she had all the facts and stuff. But back then it was very like, what is this? Very controversial. What's happening, And so, 22 years later, and I love to hear that now there's like, that research that is helping brain health, because with the onset of early dementia, way more people that are now becoming Alzheimer's and, having that dementia, having that brain fog. If we can mitigate that by supplementing with creatine, that's also going to make us stronger, which as we move into an older age bracket, who doesn't want to be stronger? Who doesn't want to maintain strength as you're growing older so you can continue to do the things that you want to do, right? or you're younger in age and you want to be stronger, or you need to be stronger to pass a fitness test or to make, a tactical team, or to, you've got personal goals for in the gym that you want to make. Who doesn't want to be stronger? So absolutely
Exactly.
love that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
same thing with the protein. Like, I did not know whey isolate was that it has been isolated. So we're learning things here today, which is great.
Yeah. And so that when you made that comment, what products to avoid,
Mhm.
sometimes it's just products. It's on a personal level, right? Like
Mhm.
there's certain pre-workouts and I know that's like that's one of our biggest selling products that we sell, right? People come in and think the pre-workout's going to make their workout that much better. And let's be honest, like sometimes it does. But there's also pre-workouts. I have people come in and they're feeling they're having an allergic reaction because their face is so itchy and all that.
Uh-huh.
Like yeah, we can avoid that. Like there's obviously, so some like that's just a reaction to beta alanine that you don't like. And some people love the beta alanine that to get that tingle effect. But yeah, so, there's lots of that's why we take the time to really talk with someone like, and find out, what is going to work for you. And because we don't, it's just a good business model too, is the last thing I want to do is make someone's stomach upset or have a bad reaction because I probably won't have them as a customer anymore, right? And but on the opposite side, if I can get them something and I can give them some where they're going to see results, right? Obviously through the work as well,
Mhm.
then obviously that's where that integrity and that it's a trust thing, right? Because you're putting something in your body.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of faith in you and all that. And so we take that training component and that education component very, very seriously. If we don't know the answer, my staff is known one to start reaching out. Like I always have a phone on me of whether it's my police work or whatever. They know my
Yeah.
phone's on me 24/7 and they can fire me a question. I've been in the middle of a call at work and getting asked a question on something from Supplement King and I'm able to fire a quick answer to it. That happens. But we have some really, really good trains. Some of our staff is, one of our staff members in Camrose has been in the industry for, well, I'm saying probably now almost 8 to 10 years. He worked with and he's a wealth of knowledge as well. Like he's a phenomenon. And my other staff rely on him and Sandra and myself.
Yeah, I think like you're saying too about, if you don't give them a product that they're going to like or that they see results, then yeah, that's bad business. But I think it's also like the cost, right? Like, I mean, supplements are not, well, I mean, some supplements are cheap, but they're cheap because they're cheap. And so you're putting out a lot of good money to get the good supplements.
Oh
And
yeah.
then if it makes your tummy upset or you get
Yeah.
that super itchy high V feeling and you don't want to use it, then you get mad because you just dumped $40 for this pre-workout and you hate it and you've taken 2 scoops of it and you're like, I don't ever want to touch that stuff again because it's awful and it
Oh,
gave me like, and so then there's that
exactly.
like frustration of like, oh, I just spent $40 and now I need to go back and spend another $40 to try a different one. So if you can mitigate that off the hop, I think that's awesome. That's a
Yeah,
really
yeah. You got it. You got it. Like, in all honesty, like when it comes to like protein powders, one of the biggest things, obviously we don't want to upset your stomach. Two is the taste, right? Like I'm not blind to the fact that you can probably go to one of our big box stores and hey, I have a membership at it too, and probably get it for about $5, maybe $10 cheaper.
Mhm.
But what you're saying is bang on. You might have if it tastes like tree bark, you're not going to want to use it for very long, right? And
Yeah.
so the other key component is at least we want you to enjoy it. And that's kind of
Mhm.
why, with our store is that we kind of carry that premium selection. And like anywhere, you can buy anything at a grocery store, but there's a different level of quality. Like that should be an understood, like if you're getting it from a box store, like whether it's Supplement King or even like Popeyes or GNC, like those, they're going to have a different kind of quality of product versus something that is at your local grocery store, just to be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah, and I mean, and you would hope it would because otherwise, why
Yeah,
why would there why would be
100%.
there be specialty stores, right? And
Exactly.
so when you're kind of like moving through okay, I'm got my base now, I've got my protein, I've got my creatine, I've maybe got my greens, and I've got my, something, whatever else. I've got a good pre-worker that I like. What is there timing on when we should be taking these? If we're working shifts, is there?
Awesome. I'm glad you know what? That's a great, I was going to touch on that.
Okay.
There's so much, there's bro science. You know what, the term bro science?
Yes.
Okay. So there's so much bro science. So supplements, is there a time to take them? Like creatine. Let's stick with creatine first. Take creatine daily. I don't care when you take it, just take it once a day. You must take it once a day because your body, we kind of touched on that energy source, it will get used. So if you decide to only take it on the weekdays or during your workouts, you're not going to get the benefits of it. It needs to kind of load in the muscle. So bro science in creatine would be taking it right after your workout or right before your workout. Don't worry about that. Just take it. Okay. That's all the key thing is just take it. You don't need to load it. Okay. That was a marketing kind of where if you've ever heard about creatine, some people will take 4 or 5 days of loading 20 grams of it in the muscle. That's been debunked a long time ago. So you just take it 5 grams. You'll see the dosage. It's with creatine monohydrate, usually 5 grams. Protein. So one of the bro sciences there is that you must get your protein right after your workout, or you're going to have muscle atrophy. You're going to lose all your results. Okay. And if people really think about that, okay. So everyone, like when do you work out?
I work out anytime I can fit it in, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the person that, let's say, works out at their at dinner time or in the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
their breakfast meal, those proteins, where did they go? They're in their bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is the idea that if you don't have protein right after a workout, that you have no protein in your system is kind of, I just shake my head. It doesn't make sense, right? I do, though, hesitate. I would taking something heavy like a fat or a protein, like a mass amount before your workout. I would kind of hesitate on that. And the reason why is when we activate that digestive system, when you're throwing something in, all that blood is your stomach's good, your digestive system is going to demand all the blood. And when you're exercising, where do you want the blood? Right? You want it in your arms, your legs, whatever you're working out. So you want it's just more strategies, right? You're going to perform better if you don't. I wouldn't say an empty stomach, but definitely I wouldn't have a heavy. That's why you wouldn't want a heavy meal before a workout. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. I think a lot of it, I always thought to myself like that you have to eat it immediately afterwards. I was like,
yeah.
How the fuck is it digesting fast enough? Like logically that's not making sense. And it has to be, like just the protein powder and water. And I was like, well, I don't want to gag after my workout, so I'm good. I'm gonna eat it later. I'm good.
Well, I know you put your clients through quite a pretty good session. I know anyone who's training for a process. Usually, when you're really exhausted and tired, don't get me wrong, it is good to eat after a workout. Like that's, I'm not saying don't eat after a workout, but a really important thing, carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that is your blood levels, if we took a sample, you would have really high cortisol, right? That stress hormone. Mm-hmm. Because you put your body through, that's what exercise does, is you're putting your body through a heck of a lot of stress. And to naturally just bring that stress level down is carbohydrates. So getting a really high amount of carbs and protein after a workout is going to benefit. It's going to give it, mentally, you're just going to start feeling a lot better. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I think the other side of that too is to not come into it fasted. And I think that's a big thing. There's that whole, with the keto movement and intermittent fasting and all of that stuff. And again, if you like it, if it works for your body, you do you.
Yeah.
But I have always said, because we get people that will come to run their fitness test and they are fasted. And I'm like, I just shake my head so you're about to do one of the hardest physical things you've ever fucking done in your life. And you're going to do it with no fuel in your body, with nothing. How do you expect your body to perform when it has no fuel? you have no gas in your car and you expect it to go 140 kilometers an hour for the next 5 minutes to pass this at, like, what are you talking about, right?
They're
So yes.
pre-workout. They're
Yeah.
pre-workout. That's what you use the term I said is if fuel is glycogen, right? Carbohydrates.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like there is products out there. I'm just saying there is products out there. We can get glycogen in that muscle like a pasta meal, but we're not about that digestive system. So we can get that. But what you're saying is bang on. You'll get, if someone comes in with the idea, I have a really good pre-workout that has a shitload of caffeine in it, you're going to make yourself sick and you're not going to perform at your best. Because if you understand how muscles work, muscles perform better hydrated. Hydrated muscles require glycogen and electrolytes. And so you're saying bang on. Like anyone who comes in fasted, you might feel lighter, but you're going to feel even lighter when you start throwing up because your body's saying this is not good. This is not working.
Yeah. I think the other side of that too is too much pre-workout. Well, if I take two scoops,
no,
that's better than one scoop because I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to have more caffeine. I'm going to have a better workout. If it says one, I'm going to take two.
Yeah.
And then like the way the body just goes, well, nope, actually you're going to crash partway through your workout. You're going to feel like a bag of shit. So don't take two scoops, take one scoop.
Well, to those people who are looking, and there's lots of people that look for a stronger and stronger pre-workout, which when they say stronger workout, a pre-workout, they mean they want higher and higher amounts of caffeine. Mm-hmm. I kind of tell people caffeine pills are caffeine's the cheapest ingredient in a pre-workout. You can buy caffeine pills for $8. But if you're someone who can have a coffee and go to bed, you have adrenal fatigue. It's not even working for you anyways. You're not really getting a bonus out of it. So like pre-workouts, there's a lot of other things they can do. We talked about, I kind of touched on that muscle hydration. Mm-hmm. There's ingredients that can hydrate the muscle. Even in beta alanine, that tingle effect. The tingle effect isn't to say, hey, this pre-workout is working, there's an actual reason why you put beta alanine. It actually buffers from lactic acid. So pre-workouts is such a big word. It's like going into a booze store and saying, I want liquor. There's so many different kinds, right? Pre-workouts are the exact same. And what you're saying is bang on. Like getting more caffeine into your system is not going to help you. It's actually detrimental. It's not good, right?
Yeah, it's funny. The first time I ever tried pre-workout, I was coming off night shift and I'd slept for like 3 hours. We had a rugby game. And one of the girls in the change room, I was like dead. Like I was just a dead bag of garbage. And it was a big game. And she's like, I need you to rally. And I was like, buddy, I am trying, but I am exhausted. And she's like, we're just going to give you a little scoop of pre-workout. And I was like, you know what? I'm not really good. I don't want to do this pre-workout. She's like, we're just going to do a scoop of pre-workout. I promise you. It's just going to give you the little boost you need. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm being peddled drugs in the change room, right? But I'm like, okay, I need something because I'm fucking dying here. Well, I took the pre-workout. And it was like the first, you probably don't know much about rugby, but maybe you do. It was the first scrum, right? Where the forwards are kind of packing down against each other. And I was playing prop. So I'm one of the front and I'm holding up the middle girl. And I was like, I didn't realize, but I was like, guys, I feel great. Wicked. This is awesome. We're going. Can't wait. Ready to go. This is wicked. And my hooker, the girl who's in the middle, she looks at me. She's like, are you on crack? What is wrong with you? And I was like, tried pre-workout for the first time, guys. Feeling great. Feeling awesome. Let's go. Let's give her. And they were like, they just looked at me. They're like, you are not allowed to take that ever again. Like, listen to you. And I was like, why am I talking really fast? I feel like I'm talking really fast. Am I talking really fast? And they were just like, you're done. I'm like, maybe I should have some more water. They're like, you should probably have some more water. But I just remember this like, and I was like, okay, like I do like that feeling, but it was a little intense. I was like, maybe we're just going to scale off of that. So yeah, that was my first ever exposure to pre-workout. And I was like, yeah, it gave me a boost. All right. Holy man. So these guys are like dry huffing it and like throwing it in their throat with no water. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, one of my staff members used to do that. She tried one of my first videos I ever did was try dry scooping, and she filmed it, and it looked like I was blowing smoke because I just coughed it all up and gagged. It was horrible. I don't know how people do that. Yeah. So.
No, me neither. Okay, well, you've covered a lot of really great information, like just some good little like quick points and stuff like that. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't kind of touched on, or that you wanted to educate us on? Because I am loving the education.
No, yeah, no. If it comes to, as I said, yeah, when it comes to if you're using supplements and all that, just understand that all supplements work differently. So when a friend says, "Oh, try this because it will do this for you," well, not all supplements work the same for everyone. Like I'll give you a personal for me, like B12, right? B12 is a great. Everyone like that's kind of a really important one. I've had blood work, and for some reason my body doesn't absorb B12, so I'm not the same as everyone. So if I'm trying to give someone advice on it, it's not going to be. You just understand that not all of us are the same, and there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information to be had out there. You just have to go to the right place. And obviously, yeah, you know, do your own research, but also look at if there's an angle of someone trying to sell you thing at the bottom of the page. That's usually a hint that they're going to maybe market it just that this is the end all be all. But there is some really, really exciting things that are coming out there that like people are really realizing that when I first started this, I thought there was a limitation to what stuff can do, but no, I've seen some pretty dramatic results, and it's actually pretty exciting. It's just all within expectations that people have that what a supplement can truly do for you.
Yeah, I think you really summed it up at the beginning. Like, it is a supplement. That's literally why it's called a supplement. It is supplementing other things. It is not this one thing is not going to be the be all end all miracle cure or miracle solution to what you need, but it's going to supplement, and it's going to help get to where you want, or give you that, again, protein boost or strength boost or whatever it is going to supplement that. So I think that's a great way to think about it. That's awesome. Well, I always wrap up my podcast with some kind of quick rapid fire questions, and I'm really excited about these ones with you because we're gonna kind of tailor them slightly. So the first one I always ask, and this will be a great one for you, is what is your favorite food or snack while you're on shift?
While I'm on shift, oh man, it's usually what's in my pantry that I quickly grab. So it's what my kids aren't eating if we've bought something. So yeah, it could just be trail mix or whatever. Usually that's what I'm usually snacking on, if anything.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. I actually said that I was teaching a class today, and I was like, I didn't realize that I would be that, like, those parents are like, oh, I had to hide the snacks from the kids. And I was like, why do you have to hide your food from the kids? Like, why would you have to? I have to fucking hide my snacks from my kids. And they're not even like bad snacks. It's not even like I'm like hiding the cookies. I'm hiding the freaking tortilla chips so that at some point I could maybe have a plate of nachos, but I can't ever because they've eaten them all. And I'm like, I just wanted some with hummus, you little fucks, and they're gone. God damn it.
Well, at least my kids are so polar opposite. One will like one thing, one won't like the other. And so go to the big store at the Costco, and we'll buy the Costco size, and they end up sitting. And that's why I end up usually having to eat some of it myself. But yeah.
You just grab it. You're like, well, they're not eating it. I guess I'll eat it.
Exactly.
Yep, I feel you on that. Okay. The next question, similar. What is your favorite flavor of whatever supplement? So it could be your protein powder, could be your creatine, could be your greens. What's your favorite flavors?
So greens, we have there's like a vanilla. It's an orange vanilla. I've always, Orange Julius, like those Orange Julius back in the day. Oh yeah. So I used to be able to get an egg. Back then, they would put an egg in it, right? That was my protein. And so I don't know why I developed this love for the orange flavor. And so anything like I always seek that orange flavor taste. So like an Orange Julius, or even if it's even the pre-workouts, if they have, do you recall the orange, and they just call it orange drink from McDonald's?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We grew up on that as kids. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if it tasted, I don't know if I'm just bringing myself to my youth, but that's the reason why I just love that taste. And so if I can find a product like the pre-workouts in that kind of flavor, but I'm not too picky when it comes to like pre-workouts is in the proteins. Yeah, for the most part, it's just trying them all. The only one the one I'm dead set against is strawberry. I can't have strawberry products. I don't know what it is. I like strawberries, but I don't like them in like a milk form or whatever.
I think it's because it tastes too fake. That's what I always, even like strawberry yogurt, when I go to eat the strawberry, I'm just like, this is fake. Like it just doesn't taste like strawberry. It just tastes fake. So I'm with you on the strawberry.
Yeah.
And I had bought the vanilla orange greens. I think I got 2 scoops out of that container, and
Yeah.
my kids got a hold of it, and they love smoothies. That's their thing.
Yeah.
They'll make smoothies to the end. So they would do frozen banana, a scoop of the orange creamsicle. Well, orange creamsicle, that's what we call it, but vanilla orange, and some almond milk, and they would blend it up,
Yeah.
and they would like chug that back. Mom,
Yeah.
it tastes just like an orange creamsicle popsicle. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? And so then I was like, it does. The banana gives it a little bit of that like smoothie, creamy kind of taste to it. Like literally, I think I got 2 scoops out of that bucket and it was gone. And I was just like, I went to go make a smoothie and I'm like, or like a protein shake. I'm like, where's my stuff?
Exactly. Yeah.
Protein powder, same thing. Protein powder, gone. Like I have to, like, again, I have to hide this shit. I have to hide this shit in my pantry. Otherwise it's gone. And I'm like, do you know how expensive this shit is? Stop making I'll buy you the big box stuff because you're 8. You don't need the expensive. I'll give
Yeah.
you the big box protein powder. Stop using my good stuff. So
Yeah.
Okay. You've given lots of pieces of advice. So I don't want to ask you that one, but I will ask what is, and we'll go kind of to your tactical time now.
Sure.
What is the coolest piece of equipment, or what is your favorite piece of equipment that you get to use when you're at work?
Like that's a tough one because obviously I'm very fortunate. I get to use some it's just, it combines with the training and all that, you know, just like a week ago, we were rappelling off the bridge on the North Saskatchewan River onto a boat, you know, that opportunity, like it's that kind of, or whether, you know, there's lots of firearms training. It's just, it's not the equipment, it's the unique experience of actually using it. I think that's kind of, you know, there's some pieces of kit that we have, like I drive, if you guys have ever seen the armored vehicle, the armored rescue vehicle that the EPS has, well, that's usually, that's me, I'm driving it. And so that's kind of, as a sergeant, that's what generally we do is when we're with our team, when we're at these incidents, and there's some pretty cool technology in there as well. So there's not a single piece. It's just the whole experience itself, being given the opportunity to use these pieces of equipment and actually train on them. It's kind of you know, very unique.
I'm so glad you answered that because that was going to be my question. Who gets to drive the wicked armored car vehicle? Because that looks like the most fun job ever, and I would love to drive that.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool piece of kit. Like it's, in my time, we didn't really have that. So when it's -40 out and we're having to sit outside someone's house, there wasn't that luxury. We just had to have really good winter gear. And now that piece of kit it's a lifesaver, and it allows us to also function when, you know, knock on wood, we're having this beautiful weather now, but we know in another winter, a couple months time, it's going to be very, very different. And it really doesn't affect us that way.
Yes, that's amazing. I do love it. Every time I see it, I'm always like, oh, hello guys. So cool.
Yeah.
And when I see the trucks go by, they're like just the regular like trucks with the canopies on them. And then it's like, oh, there they go, because they're close by blue line. I'm like, oh, hi.
Yeah. I know, we talked about that. Everyone in this area knows what's going on. I don't know if you ever hear also the loud bangs that we every once in a while. Yes. So the flash bangs.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good. That's awesome. Well, I would say, Ryan, this has been amazing. Like, again, so much great information, like just little bits and tidbits and pieces and things like that. So thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for, you know, like I said, sharing your knowledge, sharing your information. For our listeners, Ryan is at the Supplement Kings all the time, like when he's not working. So if you ever want to go in and say hi, you can say that you heard him on the podcast, say hello. He is one of the kindest, most genuine, authentic people I've ever met. And we'll sit and we'll spend half an hour talking to you about your needs and helping you out. And if it's not Ryan, it'll be his beautiful, lovely wife, or it'll be his really knowledgeable staff. So if you can, head there, stop by, say hello, learn a little bit, maybe go check out a couple new products. I know you guys usually have some really great sales. I think think we just missed your last big one, wasn't it? The customer appreciation.
Yeah, well, yeah, the customer appreciation is an event, but yeah, in all honesty, there's events going on all the time at our store. So, and obviously those who are successful as a first responder, obviously our store, there's VIP, we call it VIP and elite setups and all that. So you just have to let us know if if you kind of look at the Supplement King website, they'll actually a number of first responders and medical community and professional athletes and yourself being like even personal trainers and whatnot, gym athletes, they do get discounts at our store.
There you go, friends. So you're going to go, you're going to get educated, you're going to get a discount, you're going to get to meet a totally rad dude, and you're going to get some amazing supplements, which is just exactly what our bodies need. So that's amazing. Well, like I said, I mean, it's been a treat, Ryan. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
No, well, again, Nikki, thank you for this opportunity. I know it was a couple months of you and I talking back and forth, and we finally got our timings perfectly together, and it was really enjoyable. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It's great.
Yeah, you are so welcome. It has been a treat. All right, guys, if you have loved this episode, if you have learned a shit ton, I want you to stop right now. I want you to text your best friend. I want you to tell your best friend about this episode. I want you to tell them all the things you learned and get them to listen to, because the more people that we have listening, the more people that will learn and be educated by this material. So text your best friend right now, go do it, and have an amazing rest of your day. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.